entirely innocent of any wrongdoing. These words from a Belfast coroner are what the families of 10 people shot and killed in Ballymurphy in West Belfast have waited almost 50 years to hear. The victims, which include a Catholic priest and a mother of 8, were shot over the course of 3 days in August 1971, immediately after a policy of internment without trial was introduced in Northern Ireland. Their families have always maintained they were unarmed civilians who were killed by members of the British Army's parachute regiment.
It was just totally amazing because, you know, for 50 years he's been branded a gunman. He was a 20-year-old civilian, and my mother and father and a lot of people that started our campaign with us have died, so they haven't seen this day. So today was a really great day.
The coroner found that all the Ballymurphy deaths were unjustified, and after a long campaign, families say they have corrected history.
It does ease our mind that my father was innocent, something we already knew. But at the moment, you can see we are a big family. It's affected us in many, many ways. No, we'll rest easy. My father will rest easy. I'm sure he'll be proud of us.
The inquest found that 9 of the 10 victims were shot by British Army soldiers. But Mrs Justice Siobhan Keegan said she couldn't definitively say who shot 49-year-old John McCurr. She said the fact there was no adequate investigation into his death at the time was a significant state failing, and she said it was a matter of grave concern, as it had hampered her in reaching a more definitive finding in relation to the death of an innocent civilian on the streets. A solicitor for the families said today's verdict is not the end.
The families, in light of these findings, will be pursuing civil actions against the Ministry of Defence. These findings today clearly outline that the British Army were not justified in using force.
Almost 50 years after they were killed, the coroner said that today must be a difficult occasion of remembrance for their families. She said that she hoped that they could get some peace now that the findings of these inquests have been delivered. Laura Hogan, RTÉ News, Belfast.
The Ballymurphy victims were all Catholics and included a mother of 8 and a priest. They were shot over a 3-day period during an operation by members of the parachute regiment following the introduction of internment without trial. The British Army had claimed they were armed members of the IRA.
There was chaos and mayhem in many nationalist areas of Northern Ireland following the introduction of internment without trial in August 1971. The British Army's parachute regiment was sent into Ballymurphy in West Belfast, with disastrous consequences. Over a 3-day period, 10 people were shot dead. Carmel Quinn has waited almost half a century for this day. She and her daughter, Mary Kate, followed the more than 100 days of inquest hearings. On the 10th of August 1971, her 20-year-old brother, John Lafferty, carried 8-year-old Carmel to the local community centre to catch a bus evacuating women and children to Kildare Army Camp.
John told me that everything was going to be okay. I was going on a wee holiday, and when I come back, everything would be back to normal.
The following day he died after he'd been shot in the back. No one has ever been charged in connection with any of the killings.
There has to be accountability. You know, you can't come in and totally destroy a family, fracture a family that will never recover, and the other families. You know, when the lawmakers become the lawbreakers, then there's no law.
The families of those who died refer to the killings as a Ballymurphy massacre. Their grief was compounded by false claims that all of those killed were armed members of the IRA. 38-year-old Father Hugh Mullen died while helping a wounded parishioner, despite waving a makeshift white flag.
He spoke to him and gave him a blessing, and then was starting to head back to get an ambulance to come and help the man. When he was shot with the first shot, he went down and then he was shot again.
Because he didn't deserve that. It's the truth. All we're interested in is truth. We need truth.
Vincent Kearney, RTÉ News, Belfast.